It was a bright, cheerful afternoon, and the wedding hall shimmered with golden sunlight pouring through tall windows. Guests chatted and laughed, the air filled with the sound of clinking glasses and soft music. But amidst the joy, one man felt a chill. Marcus, a black man dressed sharply in a tailored suit, walked through the doors. He noticed subtle glances and whispered conversations. Some guests smirked. Some laughed quietly behind their hands. He could feel the weight of judgment pressing down on him, invisible but heavy. He took a deep breath, reminding himself why he was here, to celebrate his friend's big day. But something told him this would not be an ordinary wedding. A single moment was about to turn whispers into silence, mockery into admiration, and teach everyone a lesson they would never forget. Marcus had always carried himself with quiet confidence. He was proud of his achievements, his journey, and the life he had built. Yet, he knew that not everyone saw him beyond the color of his skin. From the moment he stepped into the wedding hall, he sensed the subtle tension, the way a few guests exchanged knowing looks, the slight hesitation in greetings, and the occasional laughter at nothing at all. The mockery was not overt, at least at first. It was in the sidelong glances, the whispered comments, the faint smirks. But to Marcus, the effect was unmistakable. He felt the judgment, as if invisible walls had been erected around him. Despite the discomfort, Marcus reminded himself, this was a celebration of friendship, love, and commitment. He smiled politely at acquaintances and made his way to a seat at the edge of the hall. But the whispers continued. A few guests couldn't resist sharing their assumptions, and he could feel their eyes following his every move. David, the groom, noticed it all. He had known Marcus for years and admired his quiet strength and integrity. David had also witnessed the subtle ridicule from some guests and knew he had to do something, not with anger, not with confrontation, but with a gesture that would speak louder than words. David watched the proceedings, speeches, laughter, clinking glasses, the gentle sway of couples dancing. All the while, the tension surrounding Marcus persisted. David knew that one small, deliberate act could transform the room. As the ceremony continued, Marcus tried to immerse himself in the joy of the day. The bride smiled radiantly, flowers adorned every corner, and the soft notes of a violin filled the background. Yet, every laugh from a nearby group, every glance, reminded him of the unspoken judgments. David finally decided it was time. He would not let this moment pass as just another day. The respect Marcus deserved would be acknowledged, loudly, clearly, and memorably. Marcus settled into his seat, trying to ignore the murmurs. But it was impossible. A small group, seated a few tables away, exchanged quiet jokes and laughed whenever Marcus looked in their direction. Each laugh felt sharper than the last. He reminded himself to remain calm. Reacting angrily would only feed their amusement. Instead, he focused on the reason he came, to support a friend, to celebrate love. He smiled politely at nearby guests who greeted him warmly, refusing to let the negativity consume his thoughts. David, meanwhile, kept a watchful eye. He had seen this before, subtle prejudice, the kind that creeps in silently and poisons an otherwise joyful event. But David had a plan. He knew that words might not suffice. What he needed was a gesture, something symbolic, commanding attention, and instantly demanding respect. Dinner was served. Guests clinked glasses, chatted, and some still whispered. The group mocking Marcus grew bolder, exchanging small jabs, nudging each other, pointing subtly. Marcus felt his resolve tested, yet he held steady. Finally, David tapped his glass. The room gradually fell silent, the soft hum of conversation fading. All eyes turned to the groom. "Everyone," David began, "there is someone here who deserves our recognition, not because of appearances, but because of character, courage, and integrity. Marcus," he said, pointing gently, "would you stand for me?" The room froze. Whispers ceased. All eyes turned to Marcus, who felt the weight of hundreds of gazes upon him. Some were curious. Some were skeptical. And some, who had mocked him moments before, were beginning to feel a twinge of unease. Marcus rose slowly. Uncertainty mixed with anticipation. David took a deep breath and gave a deliberate salute, not military, not casual, but deliberate and commanding. It was a gesture of respect, honor, and recognition that transcended words. The hall was silent. Marcus, stunned, felt a wave of emotion wash over him. It was as if the room had shifted on its axis. For the first time that day, the mockery was replaced with something entirely unexpected: respect. For a few long seconds, no one moved. The guests who had mocked Marcus earlier exchanged uncertain glances. Their laughter, so bold moments before, had disappeared entirely. Marcus, still standing, met David's gaze. The salute was not just a gesture, it was a declaration: you are worthy. You belong. You are honored. Slowly, Marcus returned the salute. It was steady, confident, and dignified. The room seemed to exhale as if it had collectively recognized the truth it had tried to ignore. Then came the applause. It started quietly, then grew louder, enveloping the hall. The mockers, caught off guard, clapped awkwardly at first, then with genuine acknowledgement. Some approached Marcus, offering quiet apologies or nods of respect. Others simply stood in silent reflection, humbled by the simple act of dignity before them. The music resumed. Laughter returned, softer this time, warmer. Conversations that had been tinged with judgment now carried a sense of mutual respect. Marcus, once on the receiving end of ridicule, had become the center of admiration, not for what he looked like, but for who he was. The power of a single, intentional gesture had transformed the atmosphere. The groom had defended his friend without anger, without confrontation, using only respect and honor. Marcus felt validated, appreciated, and fully seen. Even small, seemingly insignificant actions had been rendered meaningless by this moment. The wedding, once a setting of subtle prejudice, had been reshaped into a space of recognition, reflection, and newfound understanding. Marcus returned to his seat, still absorbing the moment. His chest felt lighter. The judgment that had weighed on him for hours seemed to evaporate. It wasn't just about him, it was about every person who had ever been dismissed or mocked unfairly. The groom's salute was simple, yet monumental. It said, "You matter. You are respected. You are seen." The room, once filled with whispers of mockery, now hummed with a quiet reverence. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes, overwhelmed by a mix of relief, gratitude, and pride. In that instant, the room's energy had shifted. The laughter returned, now tinged with warmth. Conversations flowed with genuine connection. The moment became more than just a wedding memory, it became a testament to respect, dignity, and the profound impact of one act of honor. This story is more than a single wedding moment. It's a powerful reminder that respect can dismantle prejudice and that a simple gesture can create lasting change. Marcus' experience shows that mockery thrives in silence, but acknowledgement and dignity can transform hearts and minds instantly. Every day, we encounter people being judged unfairly, based on skin color, appearance, background, or assumptions. The power to change those moments lies with us. A gesture, a word, or a show of honor can turn ridicule into respect, mockery into admiration, and strangers into allies. The groom's salute was not just a sign of friendship, it was a lesson for everyone in the room. It reminded them, and us, that true character cannot be measured by appearance. Recognition and dignity are stronger than laughter, stronger than prejudice, stronger than fear. Next time you witness someone being unfairly judged, think of Marcus. A small, intentional act of respect can leave a permanent mark, altering perspectives and lives forever. A simple gesture, like a salute, can inspire understanding, foster empathy, and ignite change. Let this story remind us, courage and respect are contagious. When we honor the dignity of others, we honor humanity itself. And sometimes, the simplest actions, given at the right moment, can change everything.